Hi everyone, and welcome back to the New York School of Design's Intro to Digital Design. This is Lesson 7. My name is Vidal Saifali Valencia, and I'm a fashion designer here in New York City. Illustrator does have some image editing abilities. So in the case of, for instance, that denim on the previous page, let's say you wanted to change the color. I would say in general, I would advise making some of these adjustments more in Photoshop, as it is generally a little bit higher quality, it's a little bit more specific. But you can do it in Illustrator as well. So I have my image here. It has to be a JPEG, okay? So in my image here, it must be a JPEG that I've brought in, and it must be embedded. So when you drop an image into Illustrator, it will typically just be floating around, and it's not embedded into the file. So you'll see here it says unembed, but if I were to drop an image in here, it would just say embed. You want to make sure you've embedded your image. And as so long as it's a JPEG, you can select your image, go Edit, Edit Colors, and we're actually gonna convert it to grayscale. And when I've converted it to grayscale, you'll see now it's in black and white, but I can actually tint it by selecting some of my colors. Now, this of course is not a perfect adjustment, as it's kind of basing it off of what the original image looked like. However, if you want to, do this to get some recoloring options, if you want to change the color of a swatch, if you want to, just do that quickly for your CADs, you can do something like this to a JPEG image. And so if I make it blue, then that means it will be blue. You can make additional edits to the color. Just go Edit Color. You can adjust the color balance. You can adjust the CMYK. You can make some of these different toggling adjustments, like with the CMYK, or the different, you can see here, now it's previewing, with these different bars and different options here to make it look more specific if you're looking for a specific color or a specific kind of effect. Now, the next tutorial is clipping masks. And clipping masks are super useful because basically clipping masks set out an area that blocks an image except for the selected area. So it's kind of like when we were in InDesign and I talked about the image inside of the frame. Basically, when you're creating a clipping mask, you're creating the frame. And so the purpose of this is this will set an image into a part of your sketch or object or shape or you name it. So this is really great for place prints like t-shirt graphics, or if you have a print that has to go on a specific part of the body. Clipping masks is a super great way to do something like this. So if you were to take your sketch here, this is our t-shirt from a previous lesson, and you have this artwork, this Van Gogh, and you want this to be your t-shirt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my selection tool and I'm going to send this artwork all the way to the back. And then I'm going to hold Shift. This is an ungrouped sketch. I'm going to hold Shift and I'm going to click the body. So you can see I have my image back here and I have my body selected. I'm going to go Object, Clipping Mask, Make. Now you'll see that has gotten rid of my fill and my stroke, and you can see all the pieces of the rest of my sketch back here. I can just restore that by clicking the default button, and now I have this. Now, if I were to then double-click into an isolation mode, so again, double-clicking on the artwork, I can now actually move this around for the placement that I'm looking for, and it will just live inside of that as my sketch. I can adjust some of the fill color again, if I want it to be this color. That is an easy way to create a clipping mask, and you can do this with some of your prints, you can do it with your fabrics, you can do it with placed artworks, you name it. In general, the clipping masks I use the most, though, for placed artwork. Another way to quickly utilize clipping masks is to use, in Illustrator, it's called the Draw Inside mode. And so this works basically in a very similar way. But if I were to, let's say I want to make this place, but it's going to be kind of more all over than in the previous sketch. If I were to edit, and if I were to just cut this piece out. So I've cut it, it's on my clipboard. I can then select this body, And I'm going to click down here. See this right here? It says draw inside. And you'll see now that it's giving me this little bounding box. And I'm just going to click paste in place. And now I was just nudging it over with my keyboard, but now I have my placed artwork. And so this is just a little bit quicker of a way to make a clipping mask. Functionally, it is really the same, but can be a little bit more convenient kind of depending on the type of artwork you're working with or what you need it to do. So once I'm done with that, I have my sketch that has my artwork inside of it. Now, additionally, we have cropping images. So cropping images in Illustrator is pretty straightforward. This is usually best if you're trimming images for inspiration or if you're cropping something out. You know, there's all types of situational usages for this, but it's pretty straightforward as you'll just select the image and you'll click crop image. This will then bring a little bounding box around here, and you will just make the adjustments that you need. So let's just say, if I also select and hold Option, it'll do both sides at the same time. And so let's just say I want to just make it a little bit closer to the person itself. I can then just click Apply, and you have your crop.